Hello and welcome to this week's TAPcast. We're on episode 3. I'm Adam, and over there we have Terry.
Hello.
And over here we have a Pete.
Yo.
What have you been up to this week, fellas?
I spent lots of money on a new graphics card so I could play Just Cause 3.
Was it worth it?
Yes. Well, the main deciding factor was that I managed to get Rocket League for like a tenner, and then I started playing Rocket League, and it just locks up every time you start it. So I figured, well, I've spent £10, so that I have to spend £270 on a graphics card. But now that I've got it, yeah.
Yeah, that's a 970, isn't it?
Yep, it's the G1 Gaming Edition, which is supposedly the fastest GTX 970 you can get.
Oh, right. Yeah, because I remember you were looking at 980s. How much were the 980s?
From memory, they were like 350, 400 quid, which is a little bit too much, really. I mean, to be honest, 270 quid on a card was kind of a bit of a push at the minute, what with Christmas and everything. But I figured it's an investment in the next, 4 or 5 years, possibly even, of gaming. So
Yeah. Weirdly, apparently Just Cause 3 has had more issues with the 980s than the 970s, but then there's a lot of conflicting Steam reviews and reports, so I don't know, pinch of salt there.
yeah, I think it's more of a combination of what people have rather than any specific thing. But although I have noticed, it does seem to run a lot nicer on the drivers. Seem to make a big difference between NVIDIA and AMD. I know on AMD I had to run the beta drivers, and without those it was just crashing constantly. With NVIDIA, it just seems to work perfectly fine. There was actually a driver update the other night for it, and it seems to run even better now. The main thing it does is it crashes whenever you exit the game, which is not really an issue because you're exiting the game.
Yeah, well, actually, then again, when you're exiting, it's not really going to be saving. I was about to say if it corrupts the save, but yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, I'm running a GTX 770 on it and an AMD FX 8350, which isn't the best of CPUs, but it's on the recommended for the game, but it's still not running as nice as I'd like it to be. But the frame drop seems to be sort of ones that don't make sense, where there's nothing happening, as opposed to when there's lots of explosions and scenery, so I think there's still some fixing that they need to do, but they did release a patch this week, though, so that's addressed some issues.
It was a fairly small patch, and it only addressed a couple of issues, but they obviously acknowledged the fact that they have more work to do. And I think it's kind of better doing this way. They're not releasing a huge mega patch. They're saying, okay, we're going to do it like every so often. We're just going to release the patches we've got to make the game incrementally more playable. And yeah, I think it's a good thing that they're doing that.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, it's kind of playable for me. Like, I've put in quite a few hours into it, admittedly. It's just, every now and again, when it does have issues, it's annoying, but it's a fun enough game where I'm just kind of putting up with them.
Yeah, and about the updates as well, I'm not sure whether the updates will come out on consoles, whether they're going to be incremental or whether they're going to be just one big one at the end. Because I know, at least on 360...
You mean Xbox One?
No, I mean in the past on 360, whenever companies wanted to release an update for games, I think it was you get the first one free, and then you have to pay Microsoft for every patch you release for a game after that.
Oh, yeah.
Just as like a thing for obviously having the bandwidth, them storing it, and also because they could. So I'm not sure if it's the same for Xbox One, but I can't imagine there's going to be as many incremental updates for console. I think it'll more than likely be one big or a couple of big updates. But if anybody's got a console, feel free to let us know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Not just that you've got a console. I mean, if you've got Just Cause 3.
Yeah. I've also been playing a lot of Just Cause 3 this week, and it's really fun. Although the annoying thing is I went back to GTA afterwards, and I just kept missing the grappling hook.
I think every game should have a grappling hook in it.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
And the thing is, the grappling hook is so much better than in the Batman games. I feel like Rico's a better Batman than Batman.
He's just Batman, but with guns.
Pretty much. So, basically, he's Thomas Wayne.
Yeah, he's Tim Burton's Batman.
But don't the handling of cars not handle well?
The handling of cars is more of a, it's Just Cause 3, why the hell are you in a car? Really, more than anything. It's better than in 2, but honestly, I haven't really used a car unless it's been specified for the mission. So they handle okay for the limited use that they're going to be getting.
Right.
Yeah. Also, I've been going back to Super Mario Maker, and there's been some event levels that I didn't realise were up because, admittedly, I've not been playing Mario Maker for like the last month, and don't know why, because I enjoy it every time. I mean, I know it's just classic formula, but it's always nice to see the weird, trippy things people upload. And yeah, that's been quite a lot of fun. Apparently, there's been checkpoints added as well, which I don't know why they weren't there in the first place, but I'm glad they added them. But I've not seen any levels actually making use of that yet, so I'll see how that goes. And so I've just been doing the challenge where you sort of play through 16 levels with like 100 lives, so that's been quite fun. I might even have to record some of that. But yeah, that's about it for me. What about you, Adam?
I downloaded the Epic Game Launcher so I could get Shadow Complex, and I've been playing through that.
Oh yeah, that's been put up for free,
Yes.
but only for Christmas.
If you listen to this and you're listening to this this month, which is December, get it. It is a fun game, and you will enjoy it.
Yeah, it's basically like a Metroidvania sort of game. It's a side-scrolling shooter platformer thing with like a lot of puzzle solving.
Yes.
But all right, well, so yeah, there's been a few things happening in gaming this week. One of the things that's happened as well is Kojima's started his own new studio, as confirmed previously. He's left Konami, so now he's working on some new intellectual properties. One of the things as well that's been happening with that is he's been in talks with Sony, and there's been some conflicting reports. Like some websites have been saying these games he's working on are going to be PS4 exclusive, whatever this game is. There's not much information on the game itself at the moment, but then it's early days. Other reports have been saying that it might be going to PC as well, and as we've seen with a lot of things online, when they say exclusive to this console, they neglect PC because apparently PC doesn't count to some websites. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see whether that happens. And to be honest, from a personal perspective, I'm a PC guy, so I wouldn't object to that coming out on PC, whatever it is. But yeah, I'm curious to see whether Kojima's name will carry over with new intellectual properties and how that'll go. I mean, what do you guys think?
I hope it does, because I do enjoy Kojima stuff. Showing the Enders, Metal Gear, which Konami own.
Yeah, that's the thing. Konami still own the actual intellectual properties, so
Which is a
Get
shame.
ready for some really crap Metal Gear Solid games to be pumped out just to eke out the last couple of cents from that.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm really disappointed, because I was looking forward to another Sony the Enders, because I love that game.
Yeah. Oh, although saying that, apparently there's going to be a Metal Gear Rising 2, and last Metal Gear Rising game, they outsourced that to Platinum. So if they do that again, I have enough faith in Platinum to get up past Konami's crap.
Yeah, definitely.
Unless, of course, they play the kind of publisher politics that some companies have been renowned to play. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this. I think Kojima's name personally will carry over enough to sort of get the hype for the new intellectual property, whatever they may be.
Yeah.
I think he's going to do better than. Well, I think he's going to get more name recognition than Konami. I think he's come off this a lot better because he's not the one that's kind of been seen to be a bit of a dick about it.
Or a child, really.
Yeah, exactly. And do you remember how much backlash there was when Konami took Kojima's name off of Metal Gear as well, of Metal Gear Solid 5?
Oh, that was damn near hate for Konami.
Yeah,
Well, it was hate for Konami.
yeah.
Actual, literal hate for Konami.
And all the microtransactions they added as well. Like I was the guy that got Metal Gear Solid 4 on release day and pretty much had a PlayStation 3 ready for that. But Metal Gear Solid 5, I just don't really care about. Like I might get it when it's £5 in a Steam sale, but that's about it.
Yeah, well, I can remember you getting Metal Gear 4 because we've done a 25-hour gaming session on that.
Yeah. Oh my words.
And the game telling us to go to bed and get a life. I
Yeah.
wish we had screenshotted that somehow, because that would have been epic.
Yeah, back in the days before like capture cards were widespread,
Yeah.
that would have been amazing to have recorded that. But
So what do you think on the fact that obviously Konami's got all of the IP for everything Kojima's done really so far? What are your thoughts on that? Because I'm kind of looking forward to it because it it's kind of forcing his hand to create something new, and I think the gaming industry kind of needs that. What with a lot of so and so 2 and so 3 and stuff coming out.
It'll be good because this sort of thing, Kojima he's a genius. Because look at Metal Gear, look at some of the Enders. If you played those games, different games, but they're brilliant in their own rights. And Kojima, I think it works best under pressure.
I'm just wondering whether he's going to do something that's like a spiritual successor to one of his pre-existing titles and sort of try and kind of bounce off of the name of that. Like some of the former Rare employees that worked on the Banjo-Kazooie games, they've done that spiritual successor, Yooka-Laylee. Well, I say done, they're still working on it. It's not been released yet, but they're sort of bouncing off of the name of that, and the gameplay looks very similar. It basically looks like Banjo-Kazooie 3 because nuts and bolts doesn't count. But yeah, so I'm wondering if he's going to do something like that or whether he will do something completely new. One report I read is he's working with Guillermo del Toro, apologies if I mispronounce his name, who he worked with on PT Demo, so whether they do some kind of spiritual successor to what the Silent Hill sequel was going to be, with like a different name and different branding, that would be interesting.
Well, I know a lot of people were looking forward to that game, and then they said, actually, yeah, we've done PT demo. That's it. That's your lot. So maybe the community will get their wish of actually getting a game from that demo.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, from the fact that games like Amnesia and Outlast have been taking off, silent horror, survival horror is something that's been kind of a bit of a gap in the industry over the last few years. There's not really been that many in the sort of AAA space, so it'll be good to see a good game in that field.
Have you guys played Outlast?
I've played it a little bit, but it's one of the many games that I'm trying to get around to.
Yeah, I've started it, and it's just getting the time to get into it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Alien Isolation is one of the sort of acclaimed games of. I think it was this year or last year. I can't remember which year it came out, but I think survival horror is definitely making a big comeback in a big way.
What I loved about Isolation is they kept it to like all the computers like they did in the original Alien movie. They kept it all like leaning the same, not gone like they did in Prometheus, where it's all high tech and fancy.
Yeah, no, apparently it's very faithful to the original kind of Ridley Scott's vision, so that's quite good.
Because I thought it was a bit disconjointed when you see Prometheus, and they got more sci-fi tech than they did in the original Alien movie, which has been Prometheus was set before the first Alien.
Yeah,
so that was a bit.
Yeah, it's a bit weird when different kind of franchises go in sort of different directions from the original kind of aesthetical and creative roots. I mean, a lot of the time that's down to different development teams. I mean, Sonic's experienced this over the years with being expanded to loads and loads of different teams. And, well, Sonic Generations was good, but other than that, it's not been so great over the past few years. But, I mean, you've experienced something similar with one of your favourite series, haven't you, Pete?
Yeah, I really enjoyed Ace Combat. So when I saw the new Ace Combat Assault Horizon in stores, I thought, I don't need to go and have a look at a review for this. I don't need to bother with that. I'm just going to get it. I'm going to get the special edition. And I got it home, and the little notebook you get with the special edition is just that. It's just blank pages. So I thought there would be something nice in there. That's fair enough. Put the game in, played it, and it didn't feel like Ace Combat at all. It was a flying game, but I mean the bits that really stick out to me were the dogfight mode, where you press 2 buttons and the plane flies itself. Like the plane will follow another plane, and you basically just sort of do the fine aiming and firing of missiles and stuff. And that sort of thing, it just wasn't right. It didn't feel anything like Ace Combat.
Sounds like Call of Duty more than anything.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, whether there was a different development team doing it. I mean, I can appreciate that maybe they wanted to take a different direction. I know that they'd added in some helicopter bits, which I actually kind of enjoyed those. I thought they were kind of a nice break. But I kind of, on one hand, I kind of admire them for taking a new direction, but it was such a big leap in a series that's already well established that it just didn't work for me.
Well, I played a little of it. It was pretty hard because it's like pick your plane. Why? I don't know what I've got to do yet. Have I got to do air to air, air to sea, air to land?
It does get to the point where, like some of these franchises, they go in a different turn, and it gets to the point where they're not even that franchise anymore. It's like a completely different series, and it just makes you think, well, you might as well just start a new intellectual property. But then, obviously, from a marketing perspective, the previous brand has already got recognition, so you can see why they sort of use that to boost the popularity of it.
But sometimes that can kill a franchise, though.
Yeah, Sonic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see Sonic ever recovering from Sonic Boom.
Do we know what the actual sales figures were for Sonic Boom? Whether it was maybe picked up by a new audience, perhaps a younger audience, or was it a widely panned game?
Well, I mean, in terms of critical reception, that was not great. In terms of the sales, last I saw, it didn't. Last I saw it was about 40 to 50,000, but I don't know how long ago that was. But either way, I know it wasn't great. So,
Well, hopefully they'll take notice and try something else to kill Sonic this time, rather than trying that again.
to be honest, I just wish they'd just get rid of Sonic completely and just starts doing something else.
I wish they'd get rid of every other character but Sonic and Buttnick. Sorry, Eggman.
Oh God, don't get me started on that. Well, complete subject change. So this week, Extra Credits covered this whole thing about China. They've got the Sesame credit system in place, and we did a bit of research on this, and it actually sounds like something from a dystopian, futuristic sci-fi. So basically, it works through social media, essentially. It kind of sort of gauges your performance in terms of how much of what you do corresponds with the kind of national image they want to project.
Well, it's not just social media, it's also linked to purchases as well, like what sort of things you've been buying, as well as what sort of things you've been posting on social media and who you associate with as well.
Exactly. And at the moment, it's just an optional system, but apparently it's going to be mandatory in 2020 as well. It's kind of worrying because apparently it can end up affecting people's credit rating just based on, things like morality and things like that.
Well, it's effectively like it's if your credit rating determined everything, like it's sort of like what sort of perks you get, whether you can get loans. Eventually the fear is it's going to be sort of things like what kind of jobs you can apply for and things like that. But there's also sort of subtle things where your score is dependent on the score of people around you. So it's also a way of saying, well, people are going to be less likely to associate with people that have lower scores, i.e. people who are more critical of the regime.
Or they'll pressure those people with lower scores to change their actions.
So it's not only just a case of, oh, hey, you get rewards for being a good citizen, it's also a way of sort of shutting down people that are opposed to anything that happens.
But you can also lose your packs for having people with low scores around you, or if you take a critical view to anything. It is a way of being a dictatorship. It is a dictatorship through social media, but they're doing it in such a clever way that people will fall for it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's gamification. I mean, we've experienced gamification over here, really, in a lot of workplaces. It's been incorporated into a lot of different training things. I've done some research on this, and there's a lot of research into how just a simple kind of meter, like from silver to gold, on someone's kind of rating or things like that on a system can really affect someone's performance.
Well, it all varies from even workplaces here have annual reviews and stuff like that, which is not really gamification, but there's also things like there's reward points you can get for doing stuff in certain workplaces and things like that. That it's nowhere near the whole sort of countrywide mass citizen thing that China's doing, really.
Oh no!
But it's still they're using techniques that they've learned in. In fact, actually, one of the companies that is, I think, developing and creating the system actually owns several actual game developers. So they are bringing their game knowledge to this effort.
Yeah, they actually own Activision Blizzard, which is one of the biggest gaming companies around. They've got World of Warcraft. So, And apparently it's been very effective as well. It's really affected some people's activity
Well,
in
at
the
the
way
minute,
they've intended.
because it's opt-in. At the minute, you are getting the kind of people that that do toe the party line, the kind of people that are very patriotic, I guess you would call it. So they're obviously saying, "Oh, this is great. We love China, and so I've signed up for this." And they're telling all their friends about how it's great. They've got all these perks because of their high score. And obviously, all the people that aren't very patriotic aren't going for this system. So you don't really get any of the criticism. And of course, if you did get the criticism, your score would go down. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it's going to be one of those things where it's just socially pressured, and people are just eventually going to give in, like how so many people are giving in to getting a Facebook account. It's just going to be one of those things.
Well, the problem is really you either give in and say what they want you to say, or you kind of end up with no friends and not able to get jobs or buy things. Or I don't know exactly how it's going to work, but it's very much aligned to basically saying, well, if you don't do what we want you to do, you don't get anything.
Yeah.
But it's basically a way of changing through from ruling through fear to ruling through. I don't know. It's kind of this weird thing. Like you sort of get this endorphin rush from getting like you've leveled up, you've got this rank, that kind of thing. I mean, that's how gamification seems to be working, and it's been very effective.
Yeah. I hope it don't come over here. That's all I can say. I really hope it doesn't come over here.
I hope it doesn't happen over there either. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but China seems the sort of place where this will happen and it will go through.
But then again, I'm wondering if some of the reporting that's been online about it is Western media being that other country is doing something different. Let's blow it out of proportion and make them seem ridiculous kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because
it could be, but I know typically, especially world leaders and stuff, have been very forgiving of China's practices against their people in the past, purely because they make cheap stuff and we like buying cheap stuff. So I don't know whether that would extend to the media as well, but I think we're sort of more forgiving of China than more than we would blow something out of proportion, which I don't really think we would do for fear of losing the cheap products.
Yeah, the international trade. Yeah, that's a good point, really. I don't know. It's just weird, like the mentality of like how sort of people can get so kind of immersed into this idea of like this kind of online digital rating thing that they can really sort of, I don't know, not get suckered in by this so much, but just more kind of feel rewarded by this, like because at the moment it is an optional thing. That's the thing, and people are really going for it.
But I think the thing is though that it's not going to be optional, so they don't really have to entice you into this program when in 5 years' time you're going to be in it whether you like it or not.
No.
And at first I thought 5 years that's a long time for them to have this as a trial, but then when you think about it, 5 years is a long time, and that's a good reason because you can very slowly bring people into it, and you can after 5 years you're going to have built up a core of people that are going to be using this as if they'd been using it for their entire life and extolling the virtues of it because, hey, I got this promotion because my score was this, and I managed to get this loan for a bigger house because my score was that. And it's also an acceptance as well of 5 years. Well, I guess if you think about it, 5 years is typically longer than any one leader lasts in a country. It's longer than the election cycle. And as we may be aware, things that are longer than the election cycle typically don't get tackled as quickly as things that people can fix straight away because that's a problem for the next guy.
Yeah.
True.
I think this is only possible nowadays because of the dependence on the internet. There's people out there who can't go an hour without checking Facebook. It's this sort of mentality.
Well, not in China, they don't have Facebook, but
well, don't they?
No, they have. I can't remember what it's called, but they have their own social media network, which is obviously all tied into this now.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. You know, people can't go a day without checking Facebook.
Well, it's not even that. It's
and it's easy to keep because you put your likes on Facebook in things you think, oh, I like that music, but it could, you didn't think about it. You just go, oh, I like that, or I don't like that.
It's just not only the social aspect, but it's also sort of the commerce aspect as well. I can imagine it to be extremely hard, if not impossible, to get by as a business without leveraging the internet for sales,
Yeah.
marketing, even just contacting people to get your designs made and get your stuff shipped and stuff. The internet is an integral part of everyday life now, and in a way that you can't really separate from it easily.
I'm just wondering how much of this, because apparently at the moment, like you say, it's being run by a company that is sort of the company running Activision Blizzard, like they own them. I'm just wondering how many companies are going to sort of be going to them saying, if people buy our stuff, can you give them more points if we work out like a deal between us, that kind of thing.
Well, I think it's Alibaba. I think they're one of the biggest sort of internet things over there. They are the second partner in it. So it is very heavily tied into what people purchase and sort of import from overseas and things like that.
Yeah.
That makes sense because they call the name Sesame Credit, Open Sesame, Alibaba.
Yeah, but I mean, like in regards to what I was saying before about it being over here and gamification forming the workplace, I mean, there's so many studies that have shown that its effectiveness, just not for the sake of people getting raises in terms of money, people getting any kind of tangible things, but just that little thing on their screen that shows, oh, you've got this rank, oh, you've got this many points, the endorphin rush that you get from that, it's just interesting how the psyche works with that.
Well, if you think about it, really, video games are one of the largest pushers for this sort of research into, we need to make more money from this game, and the way we make more money is by getting more people to play it for longer. So it's very, very tied into, I mean, look at World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft's business model is make people play the game, and then you need to make them stay. And so they put a lot of research and a lot of effort into how can we maximize, not the fun, not the enjoyment, how can we maximize the amount of time and money that people spend on this? And it's all psychology, and it's from what I'm aware of in my limited experience, it's probably one of the biggest applications of psychology in the. I mean, of course, obviously, there's regular marketing, but the whole point of games is that you need to keep people playing. You don't, like, for work, you don't need to keep people at work, you don't need to keep people doing other things, but that's how games live and die.
Well, is it GTA 5? At the moment, with all the you've got a Christmas DLC coming out where you get free jumpers, hats, all that. It's just Christmas. It's free, but after Christmas they'll take it away. But with the new DLC, there's a yacht. And you've got 3 different classes. So if you pick the top class, you can customise it, put neons on it, different lights, and by then give it a name, different paint job. So by the end of it, this thing will cost you like nearly $10 million in-game dollars. It's great, and I know someone at work who's already done it. He said, yeah, it was nothing. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like these limited time events, they get the player base built up, and like double XP weekends on games like Halo as well. Like they get lots of people on at one go as well. It's just for digital currency basically. I
think that kind of thing is fine in games. I mean, obviously we talked at length about this before about how obviously I believe that Rockstar are doing the DLC in an extremely good way, but the fact that it's creeping into, well, less creeping and more forcing its way into other aspects of the world now. I mean, I guess it all kind of started with loyalty cards. Like, you got your Tesco card, you got your Nectar card or whatever. You get loyalty points for buying this, and we'll send you a voucher, and if you use it, you get even more points. And I think it could have started with that. Again, it's a way of getting people to spend more money.
See, I think it's been going a lot longer than that even, because, I mean, there were studies going back to the 70s by, I forget his first name, but his surname was Heisinger, in regards to playification of things like the workplace, that kind of thing. And I think it's the fact that we've got video games now as a parallel that A, kind of sets the sort of paradigm of how this can sort of be done, B, monitors people to the point where we can sort of see how the psyche works and how we can implement these kind of systems. And, it just brings to light all these kind of parallels, really, for people that are looking at this kind of thing critically, but also for people that are looking at this in regards to how they can implement it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so on to a lighter subject. So, Yeah, this will probably be the last time we record for this year, but we will be back in 2016. So I'm thinking if we round this up with how 2015's been going for us, and in regards to what our gaming experiences have been like for this year. So I mean, what kind of thing has sort of stuck out for you out of 2015 in gaming, guys?
Well, of course, 2015 isn't over yet. Maybe there's going to be a Half-Life 3 release between now and January.
What, in 2 weeks?
I would not put it past Valve.
To be honest, if I was Valve, I would not tell anybody about Half-Life 3. I would just release it because they are going to get the sales, and that sort of
That will crash servers.
helps to cap the amount of hype that will be added to it. Because
That will crash servers. That will spread through the internet like a rapid virus.
What?
It's out! Oh my god, it's out!
They should pull a Microsoft and skip a number, just call it Half-Life 4.
I think I'd cry.
Half-Life: The Next Generation. Of course, this is all wildly off topic because Half-Life 3 is never going to be anybody's game of the year because it's not going to come out.
Because Gabe Newell hates the number 3.
But he loves money, so it's kind of...
Yeah. What does he love more, though? Money or the hate from the number 3?
Anyway, so I've kind of struggled coming up with a game of the year for this year. And I'm going to... there's 2 games that have stuck out for me, but I'm going to give you the reasons why I don't know if I can call them game of the year. The first one is... a game that we've talked about so much that we should just call this podcast the Just Cause 3 show. And it is Just Cause 3.
Why?
It's a brilliant game. I love... It's so fun. It's brilliant. It's everything I wanted from a sequel to number 2. The reason why I can't recommend it to anybody is because it's buggy. And it might run like shit on your system. And it's kind of like rolling the dice, really. It's sort of pot luck whether it's going to work for you. So I love this game, but I can't recommend it to anybody because if they buy it and it just keeps crashing, they're going to hate it.
Yeah, you've even got that risk on console, which is just crazy. You know, consoles are meant to be the platform that you just put in and it works, but we haven't even got that anymore, which I think is a real shame.
Yeah, and I think by the time it's going to be stable enough for me to wholeheartedly recommend it to people, it's going to be 2016. So
Yeah.
Quite easily... Hopefully not 2017.
Yeah, well, I mean, you think we're on the 18th today, and they've released patch 1.02, but like they're going to be going on Christmas break and stuff. They might have even started today, for that matter, at the end of the day. So
It's going to be a while. I mean,
yeah,
on my PC, it runs as well as... not as well as I could hope for, but it runs well enough that I'm enjoying it thoroughly. It's just... I can't guarantee that it's going to run that well on anybody else's machine. And to be fair, I have got a fairly recent, I've literally only just upgraded to quite a high spec.
Yeah, I mean, you said you got your 970. What's the CPU you got as well?
It is an i5-6600.
Yeah, so not exactly a low-end CPU.
No, I mean, in fact, it only came out a couple of months ago, I believe. So.
Yeah.
Not the highest end, but it's good enough for that. So that's why I can't make Just Cause 3 my Game of the Year edition. I'm jumping the gun there, aren't I? Just Cause 3, a Game of the Year edition, the one that actually works.
Yeah. What's the other game then, Pete?
The other game that I was toying with is Wolfenstein: The Old Blood. And I really like this game. I really enjoyed this game. I think it's a really well put together. There's something in the bit... I don't want to spoil it. I don't know how much people know about it. There's sort of a trope they use, which will kind of be obvious to anyone that's played it, in the middle. And I just thought, as soon as it started, I just thought, oh no, they're not doing this again. Oh, COD does this every year. And then playing it, I realized actually they've made this really fun. You'll probably know what I'm talking about, Terry, from playing it.
I think so. I might need to go back to it to remind myself.
I've not got it yet. I've played New Blood, which is fantastic.
And that is the one problem with the Old Blood is the New Order. To anybody that I would recommend the Old Blood, I would first have to say, do you have the New Order? Because if you don't have the New Order, go and buy the New Order. And then if you have the New Order, then go and buy the Old Blood. Because as good as the Old Blood is, the New Order is better. Not by much, and they're both still amazing games. but the New Order is the shadow that is covering the Old Blood. And it's the reason why I can't recommend it, because I can't recommend it to everybody. Only people, if you can choose one of the two, go for the New Order. I think it's longer. It's a lot more cinematic. I like the story. I got a lot more involved in the story. With the Old Blood, I didn't feel as involved in the story. I mean, there were points where I just feel like, so why am I doing this again? What am I doing here? I don't really understand what I'm doing. And it didn't draw me in enough. Having said that, though, it is an amazing game. It is a really good game, and for both of the two new Wolfenstein games, they could have just made a game where it is, here you go, you have some guns, go and shoot at Nazis, and then go and shoot at more Nazis, and then go and kill Hitler or whatever. And that game would have sold. And they didn't do that. They made a really amazing game. It had an amazing story that pulled you in. It had amazing characters. They weren't just bad guy X and this guy does evil stuff. They were actual characters in there. And I really, really enjoyed it. In fact, when I played the New Order for the first time, when I completed it, I got the same feeling I got when I watched Inglourious Bastards, the new version, the Quentin Tarantino film. I love that film. It's just the artistry in it and the way it tells the story and the fact that everybody's a real person and there's so much effort got into that. And I got the same feeling from this. It's not just a game. Like, don't get me wrong, I really enjoy Bulletstorm. But Bulletstorm is just run around and do a lot of crazy stuff, like shooting people in the dick to get more points and blow people's heads off and stuff. And that's a really fun game. That's got its place. But the New Order was amazing. And that's why I can't recommend the Old Blood, because it's not a recommendation that I can just make to anybody.
Yeah, it's like a refinement on that sort of genre, really. It's like, in terms of the gameplay, it doesn't really sort of do much new, but what it does very well, is what I found.
Yeah, and I could talk for hours and hours about it, so I'm going to have to stop now. But that's why it. If it was, I think it was last year, the year before it came out, my game of the year would be the New Order. My game of the year this year would be the New Order, because it's the game I've played the most, because it's the game I play the most every year. But it can't be my game of the year.
Isn't Old Blood a prequel to New Order?
It is a prequel, but I mean, obviously it came out
in terms of timeline. But
it came out after, and I found that, again, it's something I really appreciate, is they've worked them together really well, and you don't have to play them in any specific order. And I found it was really nice that there was a lot of things that tie the two together. Just like really small things that you remember from both games, and you sort of see, oh, that's where he got that thing that he said from, and that's where he got this from. And they're tied together really well, really closely. In fact, I think it ends pretty much at the start of the New Order. The Old Blood. You get the feeling there's only like max of a couple of days in between the two. Yeah. While the stories don't like fit together like a jigsaw puzzle, they are the same story almost. You know, it's the same universe, the same guy, obviously. Again, I'm gonna stop talking about this. So my game of the year is, I don't really know what my game of the year is. I kind of, for fun, if it's not those two games, I think for just the amount of pure fun that I've had, it's gonna have to be a combination of two games. And the first game is a game that I don't think has actually come out yet. I think it's still in beta, but it's called Toxic.
Oh,
and
it's
yes,
really fun game. We had a LAN party and we all played Toxic, and it was amazing. And it's basically Unreal Tournament 2015.
It really is.
Pete got bounced into by his scooter and it just bounced off him.
I got ran over by a flying motorbike. It's a great game. It's a really old school FPS game, multiplayer only, as far as I'm aware. You can have bots.
Yeah.
You can play with people. You can play with people and bots, and it's just very old school. There's very good map designs, weapons laying around the maps. You're shooting at each other, and it's that's an FPS, of course.
Well,
but it's just really well done, old school, and it just focuses on that. And although it's not finished yet, I don't think it's actually version 1 yet.
This is what I was talking about before when I was saying I think I mentioned this last week about early access games and how they need to sort of really kind of show you an idea of what it's going to be, and people sort of tend to be like, oh, you can't judge that badly, it's early access. It's like, well, yeah, you can, because it's kind of give you an idea of what's to come, and if this is sort of an indication of what's to come, then I'm not really caring about anything else. Whereas with Toxic, it's a good example of how to do that very well. It's really showing what can
the core
what it can
game
do.
is there. It's just maybe they haven't got all the maps and all the weapons, and or the maps aren't finished yet, but it's all there. I can't remember how much it is. I don't think is it free or is it?
No, full price it's $13.99. It's gone on sale a few times, but I think it's worth the full price personally.
Yeah, I mean, as with all Steam games, I'll wait for it to be on sale. If you see this game on sale, pick it up.
Definitely.
I would probably say if you don't have anyone to play it with, depending on your playstyle, you can hop online. But definitely, if you've got, I think there's a 4-pack you can buy.
Yeah.
If you've got at least 3 friends, I have about 3 friends. If you have at least 3 friends, get the 4-pack. It doesn't even matter if they're going to give you the money for it. Just give them the game, and you will all enjoy it.
That's the thing. I mean, the things I've missed from a lot of games have been bots that you can just team up against and play against, dedicated servers as well. Like, they need to come back. I'm sick of all this peer-to-peer crap. And it has an actual LAN mode as well. It's not one of those things where you got to like faff around with a matchmaking thing and try to get your friends in the same server at the same time. You actually have an actual LAN thing, so that's good.
It's like the early 2000s idea of the future of games.
and it fills the gap with that very well. There needs to be more of that.
Yeah, and going on from that, another game. I'm pretty sure this game came out this year. I can't quite remember, but another game I've had a lot of fun on very recently is a game I've already mentioned that I bought the other day, and it's Rocket League.
I think that did come out this year,
and it's really different to something I've played before. Obviously, it's a very new idea. Basically, if you don't know, you drive around in cars and you play car football. Effectively, you got this huge ball, and you're trying to get it in the net, and you can do like 1v1 to like 4v4 and stuff like that. You can do it split screen on the PC. You can do it online. I think you can do online
what was
split
that?
screen.
Split screen on PC. Never heard of that before.
It's happening more and more often than you'd think nowadays.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. While ironically, it's going away on console more and more.
Yep. But I just thought it was really fun. It's not meaty enough for me to have it as my game of the year. Just like Toxic, neither of them are meaty enough to be game of the year for me. But together, I had a lot of fun playing them with friends, and that's kind of where I'm at the minute. Is I don't really like playing games on my own very much often now because I don't have much time. So I like get a couple of friends together, get these games out, and you can all play them and you can all have fun. That's not to say without faults. If you're playing Rocket League, unless you are winning constantly, which isn't really that fun, you're probably going to get really annoyed and shouty like we do. But I found that even when I was getting really annoyed and like your AI player keeps knocking it into your own goal and stuff like that, stinger. It's still really fun. I really enjoyed. It's the kind of annoyance where you're still enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
You're not having outright fun, but you enjoy. I guess it's because you're playing it with other people that I was playing it with other people that I know, but you kind of really enjoy having someone to blame for your issues. But just that kind of annoyance where you're not getting frustrated and throwing the controller away. You're getting frustrated, and then you're just sort of looking at each other and laughing about how stupid, how you've knocked I've made an own goal, or I'm just like dicking around on the ceiling of the game or something like that. And so those are my combined. If we can combine the two. Sort of having people running around playing football, maybe.
So basically, your game of the year is FIFA.
No.
Well, you have people there shooting each other while trying to play a game of remote control car football.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of football with weapons now, and it just made me think of that Mario Smash football game that was on GameCube.
Can you imagine football but with gravity guns?
Oh,
How-
okay. If there's any source modders,
I might have
there's
to see if that's already a source mod,
Yeah.
because that sounds like it's quite fun.
Yeah. Boom.
yeah.
You'd never score a goal, or you'd never make a goal because the gravity gun like caught it. Doof.
I guess
Caught
you'd
it,
have to have
doof.
limitations on it. Obviously not as powerful as, because obviously everyone's got a thing again.
Well, it depends. If it's the gravity gun, yes, but no physics guns. No physics guns.
Oh, what if you like had a choice between gravity gun and portal gun and like?
See, I
you
was
had
I was
half and
thinking of that.
half?
I think, would a portal gun work? There's not really that many surfaces to put portals on unless you have sort of like an obstacle course, but it's not really football. Also, there's the
No.
point where, you're going to score a goal. I'm just going to put a portal in the goal, and then it's going to go
Yeah.
go straight into my goal. So I don't think a portal gun would work quite well for that, but I can imagine.
Unless you could only do it where on the ground, so instead of you could only hold. So,
I can just see someone running straight towards the goal with the ball, and then suddenly there's a portal under them, and whoop.
yeah, falling from the ceiling, and you hadn't got the
Maybe you
fall
have
boots.
maybe you have one portal gun per team, and it only does one of the portals. So you and your opponent each have your portals connected.
I wonder if someone's like done this kind of thing on Gary's mod or something, like messing around.
We've got to check it out.
See, I can imagine. Obviously, it's Gary's mod. You could do it. There wouldn't be a scoring system built into the game, but you could
No.
quite easily make a goal and then just all have gravity guns and do it. Maybe we should give it a go. Maybe we should build an arena in Gary's mod and give this a go.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's quite fun thinking of all these-
Valve, please hire us.
Yes.
yeah. Some of these ideas for metagaming are always like fun to think about. Like a friend of ours, Richie, who we've played online with before. Like he did a video where he was playing grenade baseball on Grand Theft Auto 5, and it's like I still need to try that.
But it looks like the kind of thing that gets really annoying for ages until you finally hit it and it makes everything worthwhile.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we're talking about games of the year.
What yours,
Yeah, so
Terry?
my game of the year is the game that I've just invented, Gravity Ball. There's Gravity Ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
call it that. Okay.
Grav ball.
Yeah, copyright Team Tap.
Yeah.
So I just invented my game of the year. So what's your game of the year then, Adam?
I don't know. It's one of two. One being an episodic game, which is finished by Square, which is Life is Strange. That's a very beautiful game and very well done.
Still not played it. Need to get around to playing it.
You really do.
Yes, the ending to that, I won't spoil nothing, don't I? Was like, it took me half an hour to decide. I was like, I put the controller down. It's like, I don't know what to do. I
Yeah.
honestly do not know what to do, which one to pick. It is,
To be fair, I've seen you playing lots of games. You do that quite a lot.
yeah, okay, and whatever. Yeah, and the other one, GTA 5, because that only come out for PC. Is it this year?
It was
early this year?
last year, wasn't it?
No, it was this year.
Was it this year?
very
Oh,
early.
of course, because it was delayed and delayed and delayed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, as we talked about this last time, I'm glad it was delayed rather than came out early and was shit.
Yes.
Yeah. Take
Yes.
note. Take note. Square Enix, Avalanche, and Warner Brothers, Rocksteady.
On a side note, we should probably just call this show the Just Cause 3 and GTA 5 show, because that's all we seem to talk about.
Well, the two most recent games we all. I haven't got Just Cause 3 yet, but
Next week on the recap show, we talk about the same shit again.
Yeah. But I honestly don't know. With work and so much, I've not had much time to play any other games other than the ones I've already got, and like say Life is Strange and GTA 5. You know?
Yeah. I've had trouble deciding, so I've actually done a list of 10, but I'm not going to like list them all off to you because that would be boring.
Do the top 5.
Yeah. So basically, I don't know. I've had Life is Strange was one of my favourites because oh my god, the field trip in that game.
Yes.
Basically, for those who haven't played Life is Strange and is not sure what it's about, like in terms of the gameplay, it's one of those butterfly effect games, kind of similar to the sort of stuff that Telltale games do. So you sort of you make a series of decisions based on dialogue. One of the defining mechanics, though, is that you have the ability to kind of rewind and decide: do I want to make that same decision or do I want to change that? And it's really sort of impactful how much that just makes you think, and it gets to a point where it's very kind of like Sophie's Choice, like you really find it so hard to choose because it's just so intense kind of thing.
The one thing I love most about that is a little tiny insignificant thing from, say, the first chapter has an impact on the fifth chapter, and you think, oh my god, they actually, wow, that made a difference.
It's basically a reverse Mass Effect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good way to put it.
Pretty much. Things actually do matter in this. So it's basically one of those things where like gaming is sort of having this paradigm shift into being more and more narrative focused as years go on. I mean, it's been going for ages. I mean, look at Final Fantasy on the PS1 days and, well, on the SNES even for that matter. So it's kind of an example of that sort of evolution. Other than that, what I'm just thinking of in terms of games of the year, I mean, one of the games I just got around to getting this year, but I think it's been out a couple of years already, is Dragon Ball Xenoverse. Mechanically, it's probably not the best game in the world, like if you look at it critically, but because of the fact that I'm a little bit of a fangirl for Dragon Ball, and I've not had a good Dragon Ball game in a while, I put in about 40 hours into this one. It's the first Dragon Ball game where you actually can create your own character, and yeah, I know it's just full of people's OCs, basically, because it's online as well, but...
I changed his hair color. You can't copy me.
It's pretty much that. There has been some weird designs on there.
Yes.
Seeing Mr. Satan's hair on a Majin Buu character was really weird. But no, I mean it's been really enjoyable. The only things I would change on it is the RNG item drops. I hate random number generator luck-based things in games. They just really irritate me unless they're placed quite well. There's times and places for them, and I don't think a fighting game is the place for it. Having a good level up system, I do really enjoy in that. It really makes all the difference, being able to build your stats and everything, because it kind of keeps you kind of wanting to go back. Same with the parallel quests as well, trying to get the best rank in those as well. There's a lot to do in it. In terms of choosing a game of the year, I'm going to say Life is Strange, just because it's probably... I wouldn't say the most completely different game I played, because I played Telltale games before. It's very similar to that, but it does a lot of things very, very well, and it's one of those things where it's an experience. Like, I'm sad I can't play it again for the first time.
Yeah, and I wish I waited for all 5 to come out, so I could have binged it in one go, because the most frustrating thing for me is having to wait for the next chapter.
Yeah, you made a good choice by waiting, Pete, although I'm just glad you haven't been properly spoiled.
Yeah, that was always the risk I was taking, but for stuff like that, I tend to wait, especially like I think the last proper thing I did it with was Breaking Bad. I started hearing so many good things, and I just thought, well, you know what? I'm going to wait till it's all over, and I binged it, and I'm glad I did, because I hate waiting for, for the next thing. It's like,
so impatient.
Next week in so-and-so game or so-and-so show, it's like, I don't want to wait till next week. I want to know now.
Previously on Alan Wake.
But you did the same with Better Call Saul, didn't you? Waited.
I did, but that came out as a... Did that come out as a full series, or did that come out episode by episode on Netflix?
Episode by episode.
Yeah, it was episode by episode.
Oh, it did, of course, yeah. But then I count that as kind of Breaking Bad almost, I guess.
Well, that's a
That's
prequel.
my excuse for forgetting it.
A prequel that come out after.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to season 2 of that next year. That's going to be great. So I think just as a kind of roundup to prepare us for next year, do you guys have any predictions for what's going to happen in gaming next year in general?
The same, but slightly different.
Yes, reskinned, same mass, online-only games.
Very positive. Yeah. No, see, this year we've been seeing some games that previously had single player go multiplayer only. So we had like Rainbow Six Siege, and we had Star Wars Battlefront 3. Well, just called Star Wars Battlefront. What I'm predicting next year is that we're going to see a new Halo and Call of Duty games that are multiplayer only, like no campaigns at all. That's what I'm predicting for them.
We've already got a Call of Duty game that's multiplayer only.
Oh, yeah.
If you're doing it on what I still find it strange referring to as the previous generation, the 360 and the PS3.
Blops 3, yeah. I know. I know. I get the feeling that might be a kind of test to see whether that could take off more than the limitations, because I can imagine it's harder to put multiplayer into like an older platform than single player.
I don't see Halo go multiplayer only just yet, because from what I've heard, the last Halo game was Guardians.
Oh yeah, Halo 5, yeah.
Halo 5, that's got an open end.
Okay, maybe not then. But apparently the campaign for that was only like 6 hours. So I think they're sort of taking that Call of Duty approach of just kind of shoehorning in a campaign just because why not, I guess.
With Halo 4, what I did enjoy was the Spartan Ops. That was a fun little side thing.
Yeah. I haven't really sort of given that a proper go yet. I don't know. I haven't really been keen on Halo since Bungie stopped making it. I think Halo Reach was the last one I enjoyed.
Yeah, that was the best one in my opinion.
Yeah, me too. Another prediction I have as well is we're seeing all this kind of drip-fed information about Nintendo's new console, and they've already confirmed that they're going to be giving some information about that next year. I bet what they're going to do is they're going to show off the controller first before the console, like they've done with the last two consoles.
Well, I don't
It must have taken you a while to come up with that prediction.
I don't really follow Nintendo because that's not my sort of console, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Not my sort of thing.
See, for me,
it's a fun party console, and if it's there and people are playing it,
yeah,
I'll give it a go. Play it a little bit, but I won't go out on my way to buy one myself.
See, I'm major into Nintendo just because it's, as a PC guy, it's the only console that offers me something different. Like, if I get a PS4 or an Xbox One, there's not really much on them that offer me much more than PC can't.
And from what I can tell, for Nintendo consoles tend to have more consistently good games.
Definitely. The only downside is the value never goes down. So if you're used to like all your Steam sales and things like that, oh my god, it's a shock to the system buying a Nintendo game.
Yeah. Like I say, they're fun party console, but I never see myself getting one to play like as a serious game or sort of thing. Even though there are some good games with good single player.
Oh, there's plenty of amazing good single player games. It's just that, it's just that a lot of people are just not drawn to them by like the console. Like, it's not one of those ones that has any kind of killer app sort of game. I think it's because like a lot of the multi-platform stuff just doesn't seem to reach it, and the multi-platform games seem to be like the biggest selling ones, really. Well, partially due to the fact that they're on more platforms, so they get more coverage, obviously. But you know what I mean? They get more sort of hype and everything, like Fallout 4, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so so that's 2016, and we'll be back then probably early January, I'd imagine.
That's 2015. See you 2016.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. I was predicting 2016
right.
with my crystal ball of amazement.
You're predicting 2016 is going to happen.
We're not going to have a Nostradamus like worldwide ending event, are we? Is there something that we don't?
We're supposed to have one every year, apparently, depending on who you ask. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I don't know. Y216, I don't know.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Yes.
And with that world-ending news, I guess it's goodbye from us until next year, which, unfortunately for you, is not that far away.
So, this has been Team Tap 2015. We'll join you in 2016. I've been Terry.
I've been Peter.
And I've been Adam.
Thanks, folks. Bye-bye.
Bye.